It's called ADHD, Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. It used to be called, back in 1902, hyperkinetic disorder by a British pediatrician named George Still.
Ironic. A man named Still.
George Still.
Coined a hyperactivity inability to sit disorder. That's Big Still trying to get you to buy into Big Still.
And totally erasing Big Move Around.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to 500 Open Tabs. I'm Kaveh Taherian.
And I'm Hannah Hillam. Welcome back, everyone.
Welcome to the show. Hannah, how you doing? You look nice and underwater in some algae of some sort. You look like you're in a really cool office from, I don't know, SpongeBob or something.
Yeah, it looks a little like some cartoon office, but it's my dad's office. We just got done with Comic-Con, San Diego.
It was great.
I'm assuming it went well.
We definitely recorded this after Comic-Con, not before it. So
always, yeah.
Oh my God, can you believe that thing that happened to you at the table when that person asked you that question and then you responded with that answer? Remember that thing that you drew?
Cry.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm the brain girl. I drew it. Also,
I can't believe you sold that thing for that much money.
I'm proud of myself for selling that thing for that much money.
Do you remember the number of people that came to our two panel? Or came to, I guess I'm on two panels, you're on one, but the one panel that we were on together, I can't believe it was X number of
Thousands. People. Oh, yeah.
Or nobody.
Sorry, I'm making it up. I can't believe it was 0 people.
Yeah.
People. We just edit our voice in later being like 0, 15 or more.
But anyway, yes, you're well rested after Comic-Con, I'm sure, by the time this episode's released.
Totally stable and normal. Same with you. Yeah. And you know what? It's great because we have another one coming up in 2 weeks. So
that's
for those of you who did not.
Oh, right. We can start plugging that one now. That's right.
Yeah, GalaxyCon
in San Jose.
Yeah, you're coming to my neck of the woods, which
it's going to be, is sort of my former neck of the woods.
Also anyway, where you're from, so you're kind of going near to home.
Excuse me, I'm not from the South Bay. Do not associate me with the South Bay. How dare you? So
today my tab is on something called the Night Watchman theory.
The Night Watchman theory.
Yeah. So before we get into what it is, I want to say this is kind of a jumping off of another tab I did like a while back. I think it was episode 60. It was the one where we had Mr. Levinstein on.
Yeah. The bottle sex? Is that what you had for that one?
Yep. I talked about the Australian jewel beetles and how they are so fun.
This is such a good one.
Banged those beer bottles like any bisexual boy boss would.
Also, like
baseball.
you said, it was a classic Kaveh Taherian type of, I'm an animal and I'm not where I'm supposed to be. I'm having sex with a bottle instead of my species. What's going on?
I'm an aminal.
Aminal.
You don't even sound like that. I don't know what my problem is. I'm Hannah Hillam, and here's the British Empire.
British Empire. I'm sweating.
I am sweating right now. I want to die. Actually,
am I a night watchman? Am I the night man? Whatever it was.
We both are night watchmen.
Okay, great.
The nightman cometh. So in that episode, I talked about how those beetles were an example of something called evolutionary mismatch. And that's a concept that theorizes that a previously advantageous trait may become maladaptive due to rapid change in the environment. Meaning something that served something well. You know where this is going.
I know where this is going.
Something that served somebody well once no longer serves them because things have rapidly taken a huge turn technologically and So I also talked about another example of evolutionary mismatch being, can you guess?
What was another evolutionary mismatch that we talked about?
ADHD.
Recently?
ADHD.
Did we talk? You're saying you talked about that during that episode, or just
during that episode? I brought it up in that episode. I touched on it lightly.
That's immediately where my mind went. I didn't remember that you had talked about it in the episode, though. Sorry.
I mentioned it a little bit and how there is this new-ish theory that ADHD is actually not really a disorder.
Yeah, I've heard this actually. My cousin Arya was talking about that.
I had kind of heard it, but oh my gosh, Arya does he have ADHD?
Of course, we all do.
Why would I think
we only have one cousin that doesn't, and he's like the nicest, most normal. And
She's
he's
the one
like
with
the
job.
most well-adjusted. Yeah.
Ours has like a 9-to-5 office job. The one that's not.
Shout out to Sam, our only cousin who's like normal. The rest of us are all out of our mind.
So normal. I've not met all your cousins.
Just the most lovely human being.
Polite and kind. You want to take him home to your mother? Like, he is the nicest person. He's got his crap together. He's like, I'm a sciencey person. Yeah. And then the rest of your cousins.
We're all bouncing off the walls all the time.
Versions of you. So we both have ADHD, as I think most of our listeners also do. So I don't know how helpful this is going to be to anybody. Other than it just being a validating kind of thing.
Yeah, I was going to say
about.
validating how awful it is. By the way, my favorite, I think I told you this story about my ADHD diagnosis story because I didn't get diagnosed until later.
Yeah, same.
And when the doctor gave me the test, it was like a multiple, or no, I don't remember, whatever, the like written multiple choice, the Scantron test.
Stupid scan. I was like, I can't do this. I'm so bored.
Yeah. And he did the test and then he put like the whatever over it, like the thing to figure out the answers. And he just looks at me and goes, your textbook. And he was like, how did no, and I was like, that's what it was like for me, where like my psychiatrist was like, I'm surprised it took this long. I fell through the cracks over and over and over. And especially you. It's weird that you were a boy. You grew up a boy. Yeah. I still am a boy, yeah.
Usually boys get that kid's
diagnosed faster,
moving too much, and they get diagnosed, especially your age, our age group, millennials.
Oh my God. My mom found a progress report from like, I think it was first grade. It was either first grade or kindergarten. You sent
me? You took a photo or
maybe
a picture.
I might have mentioned it on the show. I don't remember, but it literally says like Kaveh's very capable and he's clearly very smart, but he's easily distractible and he talks to everybody too much, and that's why his grades suffer. If he were to just focus more, he would be able to do much better. And that was the report card like every year, all the way through. I was going to
get into my report cards in just a minute because mine were the same, where it was like, Hannah, you're capable, but you won't shut up.
Listen, if they just had podcasts, we would have been fine.
We would have been fine. And look at us now.
Something I'm scared of is that if you and I had gone to school together, I have like a couple of friends like this, like Chuck's another one that I like talk to. So Chuck I went to grad school with him, but he was in the writing program and I was in the production program. And then every once in a while there'd be some like school-wide, what is it called? Assembly or something that we'd have to go to where like some speaker would come. And then Chuck and I would sit next to each other and be like, we would have failed out of grad school if we were sitting next to each other. It's immediately like the worst person to sit next to because it's the best. It's the most fun person to sit next to.
My best friends are the people I disrupted class with.
Yeah.
Sean, my husband.
Yeah.
We were in jazz band. I was in jazz band.
Yeah.
I played the saxophone real good because it didn't require me to sit still and write. And so I would turn around. Literally, it was a small band. I'd turn around and just start talking to Sean between songs. And my teacher would be like, Hannah, what are you doing? We're literally about to play another song. It's like, I needed to tell Sean something. And Sean also has ADHD. And so does his whole family. And so does my whole family. They just don't know it yet. But I just remember being like, the gall I had to be like, we're in the middle of a song. And I just stop and put my saxophone on my lap and turn around and talk to the person behind me.
Amazing.
So there's going to be time for us to go deep into all of our experiences.
I was just going to say, I'm like all classic ADHD. We're showing you an example of how this works. But the point is that we have maladaptive, evolutionarily maladaptive. What was the term?
We're evolutionary maladapted to the current society.
Correct.
And the 90% of people that don't have ADHD, because they do think it's 10% of people.
Holy shit.
They think that have ADHD. And that gets to a point where if it's 10% of people, that's no longer considered a disorder in most cases. Mm-hmm. That's considered a cognitive difference, which we know that. We've known that the whole time.
There's something wrong with me.
Well, we'll get there. I'll get there. Okay. So the night watchman theory, or the hunter-gatherer theory, suggests that certain ADHD traits were evolutionary advantages in the past, especially in hunter-gatherer societies. So I was going to say this. You said this is an example. This show is an example of ADHD. I think this has been 80 examples of ADHD because this is the 80th episode. So if you want a case study in how ADHD brains work,
my favorite misconception is it's not that we can't focus, it's that we can't regulate our focus.
We can't, exactly. It's like if we're into it, we'll focus.
We'll put out 80 episodes for no reason of book reports.
Truly insane. We're doing book reports for fun, for no money. Join the Patreon. So I can make this make sense to my husband. Kidding. Oh, other things really quick. Besides ADHD, other evolutionary mismatches are obesity, allergies, and anxiety.
Oh, interesting. I hadn't thought about obesity and what was the other one? You said obesity. Allergies.
Because when we stopped being hunter-gatherers, we settled down in one spot, and we weren't exposed to all the different antigens and stuff in the air.
That makes
plants.
Sense. Sedentary, kind of like one place.
It became more sedentary. Same with obesity. We needed to store fat because we didn't know when our next meal would come. And so we can be prone to eating a ton of calories all at once. And then nowadays we don't have to like walk 100 miles in a week or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm going to focus, of course, on how this relates to people who have ADHD or ADHD traits. So before I do that, I want to make sure I credit all the research of several very important people who are in the evolutionary psychology field, which I didn't know was a thing. First, Dr. Annie Swainpole, Dr. David Barak, Dan Eisenberg, and as well as a psychiatrist that I listened to him explain everything in a way that ADHD people could really, really absorb. Nice. His name is Dr. Ryan Sultan, Dr. Ryan Sultan, and he's hilarious. He has ADHD, and if you want things like broken down, there's lots of resources on his website that he's done.
Did you go? Okay. There's this one doctor who I forget his name. He's got like the big beard and the long hair, and he like went and studied monkeys out in somewhere in Africa, something or other. I forget. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes,
he's like the guy that studied anxiety in primates, and he's like, the reason that we get angry in traffic is because it's like that's a holdover of like he's like, it's not crazy to get angry in traffic. He's like, that's a normal response. You just don't have anywhere to go because now you live in like a city. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I forget what I'm trying to blank. He's a very famous doctor. I don't know. Anyway, continue. Sorry. Again, ADHD. I don't know if one of those guys was that guy.
We're gonna just
someone screaming his name at the speaker right now because they know who it is.
We're not gonna go look it up.
No, we're not. We're gonna stay focused.
So
unlike
way
our classes, yes,
we're gonna rewind 10,000 years ago.
Perfect.
We lived as nomadic hunter-gatherers for tens of thousands of years before that, in groups of about 50 to 100 individuals, which to this day is what our brains are wired to actually be able to comprehend.
That's interesting because I've heard that that's the maximum amount of relationships that you can have.
Really?
Yeah, it's something like people who are, God, this is from many, many years ago, but it's really interesting. I feel like that's related. So it's like
it has
certain people can maintain like the higher end, like 100 or something, but most people can't maintain more than like 50 relationships in their life, something like that. I'm vastly oversimplifying the numbers, but
I think that must have something to do with it because
it sounds
that's
like
why statistics mean nothing to us when everyone's like, oh, this many people died, and it's like, okay.
Doesn't
blip.
You can't register
can't even comprehend it. Or I think the time I experienced this the most was when I was in a baseball stadium. Boys, bisexual baseball boys. Again, echolalia, ADHD, great. It's all ADHD. And I was sitting there, and they had this contest, and I'm like, whoever guesses how many seats are in the stadium wins free tickets.
Oh,
and I was like,
that.
Surely, and at the time my career was taking off and my Instagram followers were growing, and I had about 50,000 followers. And the person who got it closest, the result ended up being about 34,000 people could fit in there. I almost had a panic attack.
Yeah.
I was like, sorry, what? I just sat there like, are you kidding? This many people know who I am?
This isn't even like half the amount of people that know who you are, though, at that time, which is what's crazy. I mean, it's technically more than half, but yeah.
Or just that were aware, who had actually laid eyes on something I had created. It almost sent me into a spiral. I was like, this isn't normal. I could see that. Yeah. This shouldn't be normal. So I had
it's
that
truly
moment
upsetting
of
that many people cared about your art. Like,
I know.
What a waste of time.
I'm a huge fraud. Idiots. I duped all of them. I tricked them all. Tricked everyone into giving me money to write a book.
That was the best advice you ever
gave me.
What did I say?
You told me to just look at it as though I'm tricking everyone into buying a book and I win. It actually sustained me. So thank you.
Don't remember saying it, but glad to have been of service.
You were. So we can't really comprehend bigger groups of 100 or 150. Yeah. So they were called hunter-gatherers because of that. That's how they lived. They would survive by hunting and gathering food and berries and moving from place to place, never staying anywhere for long or staying seasonally one place and then going to another place, kind of like birds. Yeah. And in these groups, there wasn't much of an individualistic attitude that we know now, especially in America.
Yeah.
In order to survive each day, you couldn't do it alone. So people developed these traits, different traits, to work well within a group of 50 to 100 people, meaning they had to be a well-oiled machine in order to literally not die. So within that system, these traits were so deeply important to survival that evolution selected them from the very beginning and hardwired them into us to the point where 10,000 years later, 10% of the population is still showing these traits as something that is important to human beings.
Yeah.
Yeah. And tell me if these sound familiar, all right? So to be a good hunter-gatherer, you need to have very good hearing and the ability to pick out separate sounds.
Oh no.
And figure out where they're coming from.
My life is a prison.
I know. I'm going to get to that. You are maladapted to live in a city, by the way. The city is the absolute worst place for you. And yet, helicopters every day over your head.
So many sounds. I go insane.
And to be a good hunter, you have to be hyper vigilant, which means every sound you hear, your brain automatically needs to assign it to something and assess its danger. Which
Absolutely.
I've thought of when we were at your house and Sarah was doing an impression of you, and the impression of you was she looked out the window and said, "What was that? What was that sound?
Where's it coming from?
What
is it? Is that our neighbor? Is it my left neighbor? Is it my downstairs neighbor? Is it across the street?
Who's yelling? What's that sound?
Who's playing music?
Yeah. Because you're looking. Here's the thing: you're scanning. Your lizard brain is scanning for threats.
Yeah.
And Sarah would die without you 10,000 years ago. Okay. Just remember that. Sarah, who doesn't listen. Okay. Another one is being able to hyper-focus on one thing for a long time, such as chasing an animal that you've shot and having a long focus and seeing a task through to the end. Yep. Another thing is fast and spontaneous decision-making. Mm-hmm. Am I going to go this way or that way? There's danger over here, so I need to act fast without even thinking. Impulsivity. Yep. Adaptability. Being able to go to different places and adapt. You don't have a set home base. You're fine leading a group to somewhere that seems unfamiliar, that can be scary, but to the hunter-gatherer is like, risk-taking in a survival way. You had to be a visual learner, because to learn how to hunt and how to gather and how to identify things, you had to do it with your hands in the moment, being taught through intergenerational learning.
Absolutely. I'm waiting for you to list something that isn't me to a T.
I know. Same. Bursts of energy, because in like, I know. Oh, no. I was reading this and I was like, oh.
This feels like when people read their horoscopes, or they're like, oh my God, I'm such a Gemini, or I'm such like a Pisces. But it's
you're
like
a night watchman, bro.
I'm a night watchman. Should we start a club called the Night Watchman? And like we should make
sounds awesome.
Cool jackets for it.
And I have this really interesting theory on how this all plays into D&D.
Oh, okay.
I'll get there, but
I'm fascinated to hear about that.
Me too. Well, it was my simple theory, but we'll see. So risk taking, meaning not much thought going into taking a risk, but calculated thought, but not
calculated risk. Right.
And that's the difference. People are like, "Oh, ADHD people are risk takers." It's like, no, it's almost always calculated risk, or like that split second decision making that we're really good at, that makes teachers look at us and go, "That kid has no impulse control." And in reality, like one time I caught somebody threw a bag of chips at my head, and in a split second I ducked and caught it with my hand and threw it back to them in school. And I remember just thinking, I'm a superhero. But no, someone was shooting me with an arrow. Another tribe was shooting me with an arrow, and I dodged it. Okay, everybody, you all would have died. I'm going to try to do this without putting all of my personal experience into it, but it's going to be really hard. Another one. Are you ready for this one? This one's hilarious. Yeah. Impatience.
Oh. Lines should be abolished.
Because impatience is in a hunter-gatherer situation when people aren't keeping up with you, and when people aren't doing what you know is correct.
I want to die.
To get out of the situation, to survive. There's the impatience that comes inherently of like, no, I've already calculated these risks, just follow me.
How many times have you heard me scream about this? Just constantly. Over and over again.
You've changed. You're like, I'm not eating here because there's a line, or I'm not. I will give up an opportunity. I will give up a fun opportunity because it means I have to wait.
Yeah, it's inefficient use of time. There's more life experiences that I can have that don't matter this much.
Same.
I can make my own life experience.
And that's another thing that. Anyway, I'm going to hit on myself again because classic. And also the ability to think about many things at the same time, because when you're under threat, you need to have all those things in the front, all those pans on the fire. What do they say?
Irons in the fire.
Irons in the fire at the same time, and be able to manage them in rapid succession, which is something when we're sitting in a classroom for 8 hours goes nowhere.
Absolutely awful, insufferable.
It completely shuts you down. So those are what we're required to be a good hunter-gatherer. Now, 10,000 years ago, we became agriculture. We had the agricultural revolution, and those traits became less important, but they didn't go away all the way. Because again, Settling down meant you needed to be aware of threats. You needed to be good at innovation, meaning livestock breeding and plants and tool making. And I didn't even say what ADHD was. Should I tell her? Do I need to?
Might as well if you want. If you have it in the notes.
I do. Let's pause because I realized I just went right into this. But so ADHD, for those who don't know somehow, or most likely for those who misunderstand, it's called ADHD, Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder, and it used to be called back in 1902 hyperkinetic disorder by a British pediatrician named George Still, who called it. Quote,
ironic. A man named Still.
George Still.
Coined a hyperactivity inability to sit disorder. Piece of shit.
He coined it as like a moral failure.
Yeah, of course, because your name's George Still. Yeah. That's Big Still trying to get you to buy into Big Still.
and totally erasing Big Move Around.
Yeah, Big
Move Around and Run Around. Big Wiggle? I don't know.
Big Wiggle.
Big Wiggle. Call me Big Wiggle.
Call me Big Wiggle. I'm standing up to Big Still.
So George Still called it, quote, an immoral defect of moral control in children.
Ugh, that's so British to call it immoral. Disgusting.
I know. And it stayed as that until 1969. And these kids were put into like institutions. They couldn't go to school. Anyone who couldn't go to school would start falling between the cracks. So in 1969, it was added to the DSM-2 as a mental disorder called hyperkinetic impulse disorder. In 1980, it was renamed ADD. And in 1987, it became ADHD. And it is a neurodevelopmental disorder, meaning that it is a hardwired, it's the wiring of your brain and how your brain is wired and how it's set up, just like anxiety and bipolar and stuff like that. It's highly genetic, sometimes environmental, but mostly genetic. And it's when they do scans, they see that there is less gray matter in the brains of people with ADHD. And gray matter controls sensory and muscular activities. So there's less of that regulation going on. The frontal lobe is also smaller, significantly smaller than people without ADHD. And the frontal lobe is in charge of control, impulse control, and concentration. Yeah.
Okay.
Also, there's less dopamine in the brains of ADHD, meaning we have to go to bigger lengths to get that dopamine release.
That's true.
And this leads to traits such as distractibility, restlessness, risk-taking, novelty-seeking, focus issues, hypersensitivity to sound, smells, and tastes, easily overwhelmed, disregard for routines.
Check. That's the only thing I don't have, actually.
You have the... Isn't that because you were like a Montessori kid or something?
I was a Montessori kid. Is that what that is?
I was wondering because I was like, I didn't have that. I'm absolutely a mess. But you have you're really good at structure.
Well, because I realized that by adding structure into my life, like in the structure that works for me, if I adhere to it, it stops me from going off the rails and then falling into like weird depressive spirals.
Right.
So
and you made it work for you.
I made it work for me, but I'm extremely rigid with it too, where I'm like, if I like if I don't do it, I start to like go, and then I sort of like dissolve into the ether. So I'm like really borderline militant about being like, no, I have to have like these things.
Because if you weren't, then it's all over for you.
And I think part of it too is just having gotten older. I have enough experience now of knowing like, no, I turn into this person if I don't do these things. Right. I don't like that person. And so I don't want to do that.
That's something that psychiatrists, that's their goal, is to help someone with ADHD find what works for them and then make it their routine. Because what the world wants from us is to fit into their routine that they've decided on. And their routine absolutely goes against everything that our brains are wired for. I'm just gonna say our, because that's what we're talking about.
We're part of
And this disorder has been defined, sort of quote unquote disorder has been defined by society.
By George Still.
Not even him, but everyone's like, here are the things that don't fit in with society. Being hyperactive, being distracted, being... And that's what it's named for. And it really, a lot of times, no one really talks about the positives of it, which are creativity, flexibility, spontaneity, thinking, innovation, out-of-the-box thinking.
Listen, I've mentioned this before on the show, but like, I didn't want to go into being an assistant director when I first came into film production. And that was the thing I fell into very quickly. And I like kind of by accident, like I went on a film set, I was peeing, and it sort of was like, I was like, oh, that seems like something I could do. And it's funny because in movies, when you go on film sets, like if somebody has like a propensity towards something, it's like, it's rewarded very quickly. So you have people who are like not good at something and they're like, they keep trying to do it over and over and over again and they don't get anywhere. But then there's people who are like, oh, I just did this like once or twice. And the next thing I know, I'm like on, you know, in more of a senior position. And it's because for me, I realized, and I didn't realize until that time. And that the thing that was so interesting about it is that it put me in a position of like authority that I had typically never been, because the traits that I possessed were not ones that you would necessarily think as, I don't mean authoritative like in a bad way, but just like management. But film sets were like, you have like, you know, 4 or 5 different departments. Everything's changing all the time. Everybody's always looking for somebody who's like a bridge between these different things to try and keep the ship steering one way. You come up with the schedule. You're thinking about it like minute to minute. And,
you're worrying about 1,000 different people all at once.
Exactly. And I'm like, is everyone mad at me? And they are. So I'm trying to like fix it. So there's the whole emotional component of it as well. But
the hypersensitivity to micro expressions and how people say things is also an ADHD thing, because we had to do that to be able to ascertain threats from other tribes
exactly. Like is this a big threat?
Do they mean well? I need to read their body language. I don't know if it's right. You know.
So there's these moments where it feels like you're moving, you know, heaven and earth, because you can kind of, and then you have your own team of like whatever assistant directors and PAs and stuff. So you're like, okay, I need this entire thing to go over here, and I need to move like all of Video Village to this thing so we can have this shot ready for this. So you're also thinking like hours ahead at the same time as thinking in the so it's like when it's fun, here's the thing, it can be a disaster and so much stress and awful and makes you want to die. But when it works, it is like so insanely stimulating because you have so much control over so many things at once. It's better than any
high.
And you don't have to convince anybody if you're lucky, if you're in like the moments of clarity that you have, everyone's just reacting, and you just have to be like, go, you do this, don't question me, like just do. And then it sort of like works out perfectly. And then you're like, yeah, but then no one gives a shit because you're the AD and you don't get any awards or acknowledgement. They just,
you know what, though?
The next one.
They all would have been dead without you. 10,000 years ago.
100%.
Without you, without people like us.
Which it's funny because based on what you're saying is that like it's nomadic people, like film sets are nomadic tribes. That's all they are. So you're just going from one location to another.
One thing to another.
100%. You know what? You're right. This is crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I found my 10,000-year-old job in the film industry for a period of time, but then I had burnout, so I had to quit. But for a moment,
right,
it was pretty
because
fun.
No one can do that. Because it's while it is very nomadic and creative and a group creativity, it does have that modern aspect of like, you will get left behind. There is no community aspect to it. If you fall behind, you're done. Whereas a long time ago, we would take care of each other on our own and lift all of them up at the same time to survive.
Yep.
But yeah, that's fascinating. I didn't even think about that, but you fully found an adaptable.
I didn't think about it too, until you said that right now. I'm like, oh yeah, you're describing exactly what my whole production
Every
years were.
Single thing I said about what hunters and gatherers do, you just said you did in your job.
Yep.
That's wild, dude.
Yeah, that's really funny.
Oh.
Uh-oh. That sounds like a crying child. Is that okay? Do you want to go check it out?
Hold on.
ADHD in action right now. I'm not even in the room and I heard a child and I'm like, wait, should we investigate?
Yeah. Hold on. Sean's got it.
Everything okay?
Yeah.
No, I was saying that was ADHD in motion.
100%.
We were literally both. I'm not even there, and I was like, "What?" I was like, "That sounds like a injury."
we both at the same time snapped into action. That was stupid and insane. We have to leave all that in, by the way, Alyssa.
Okay,
leave
sure.
that in,
yeah,
because it's funny. What were we saying? Oh yeah,
My job. I hijacked your conversation, your tab to talk about myself for 5 minutes.
That's what I wanted. I was hoping for that.
But yes, every single thing that you mentioned is the last thing that you said.
Something you did.
Was something I literally did for a profession for a good decade. So that's really funny.
And my mom also has it. And it's funny because her line of work, she does a lot of event organization, which is this very similar of like keeping track of a billion different things and making it all come together in this big, huge thing at the end. And I
just have to add one more story that I thought was really funny.
Please.
Which was,
this is what I want.
Again, I don't remember if I mentioned this before, but forgive me if I did.
Who cares?
But weddings, right? So we've done production for however many years Sarah and I did. And Sarah and I are both, I met Sarah on a film set. So we're both, at one point, we were like crawling on film sets all day long every day. So when it came to planning a wedding, there's the element of it that's the family part of it that makes you want to die. Yeah. Right. Which is just emotionally complicated and a minefield. I don't want to undermine that because you start
to realize why we moved away from hunter-gatherer society. How about
Right,
that? We needed to get away from our families.
But that part of it was like, that is like a huge part that looms over it. But I realized that like the process that I learned from planning the wedding with Sarah was that I was like, oh, a lot of people have never planned an event like this in their lives. And it's the only one that they're going to have to plan ever because they don't work in the film industry, for example. But as we were planning the wedding, I was like, oh, this is just one production day with no company moves all in one. I was like, this is easy.
You're like, I can do this.
Right. It was the emotional trauma of the family that made it hard and ruined. But the actual like physical part of like, well, you just got to get a caterer. Like that's craft services and you got to have this here and you got to figure out where tables go. Load in and load out. I got to coordinate this van to come and the floor. And so the thing I remember that was so funny was that the photographer, who was great, by the way, we loved her, Christy. She just at some point, like halfway when we were taking pictures before the ceremony and all that stuff and afterwards, and there was a delay because like the light guy had like gotten trapped or luck, and then she was freaking out because she was like, oh my god, we're gonna miss this, blah blah blah. And I just was like, it's okay, this is rock and roll, this is what happens on film productions all the time.
You're like, I'm alive right now.
And at the end of the night she just looked at me and she just goes, do you know how many weddings I've shot? And I have never been to a wedding where every single thing happened exactly at the time that it was supposed to happen. And
you're like,
everything went to exact schedule. And I was like, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right. I did that. No saber-toothed tiger attack here. I got this all working.
Oh, they were the family. That's where the saber-toothed tigers were.
Yeah,
but
tamed them.
Anyway, I was very proud of that because I was, again, that's the ADHD like hunter-gatherer thing where I'm like, oh, bitch, you think you can't do this? Everybody was telling me, they're like, you don't have any idea. And I'm like, you're the people that are standing in the way. I was like, I know how to do this.
And then they think that you're a know-it-all and that you're bossy, but it's like, no.
Oh my God, it's the worst.
I'm 8 steps ahead of you. And
basically that's all it is. Yeah.
That's what it feels like a lot of times when I'm having conversations with people. I'm like, I know exactly what you're going to say, and then what you're going to say, and then what you're going to say. And I just want to say my thing. And then, which is why people with ADHD always interrupt. That's a big thing. We're just like, oh, and here's this. It's like, okay, we just jumped way ahead. We disregarded everybody else's thing that they said because we've already decided that this is where the conversation is ending. Because we've been, and I do this constantly.
Well, this is what's so interesting about my conversations with you. I feel like you and I do this and we lock in and then this shit just goes into some weird place and it just goes like you and I are just giving dopamine back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
And no one's stopping us. And
no, that's the thing.
It's good. But also,
it's awesome. That's why it's so much fun.
When you and I are together with other people and I can sense.
Oh, everyone hates us.
Oh, whoa. Okay. And I can't stop. I don't know how to stop because I'm like, or there was that where I'm just like, I'm addicted to whatever we're doing right now. I'm addicted to the back and forth. Yeah. And I completely ignore everyone else because I'm like, I got to get the dopamine. Man,
because it's rare to find people where you can lock into that extent and then who will keep giving it back and forth, like just blah blah blah, cream and like whatever idiotic jokes jeans, that we have, just go.
Secundus Nixon, and the pattern making that comes from these traits that we needed in order to recognize what berries we could eat have now translated into us making jokes about Nixon and fully expounding on this pattern of Nixon and Secundus Nixon and him.
We have created our own society in a way in that sense. It's imaginary, but we have created rules for it.
It's
world building.
From what I've read,
you know what? I see what you're saying now. This is a perfect transition, although that's not probably what you were going to get into, but I get what
I'll
you're saying.
just go with the flow. I have this theory that because we're so maladapted to the way things are now, we people that are neurodivergent are drawn to video games, like story-based video games and D&D, where you get to have a weapon, you get to fight an enemy, you get to go out in the wilderness and make decisions, you get to roll a dice, you like the gambling aspect of it, the dopamine. Even if you fail a roll, it's still exciting and exhilarating because who knows what's coming next in the story? Are you going to die? Are you going to be able to get across this chasm or whatever? And it is taking our hunter-gatherer brains and applying it directly to an actual situation that we would have been in thousands of years ago. But we can't. Instead of that, we sit at a desk all day. That's why people have these D&D campaigns that go for years because they need it. I used to play D&D all the time, and I was always like, why am I doing this? Why do I do this? And it's story building. It's novelty seeking. It's imagination. It's being able to and yourself with 8 other people who are in it with you. a
Yeah.
community, and each
Yeah.
person has their thing. I'm a druid, and this person's a wizard, and this person's a fighter, and this person's a, and it goes into that hunter-gatherer tribal scenario again, where we all work toward the group, lifting up the group and the group survival. And I genuinely think that it scratches an ancient itch that we don't get to scratch anymore. And that's why there's so many neurodivergent people who play these role-play games and Ren fairs, because there's
Ren fairs. Shout out to 2 episodes.
Shout out.
I don't know, a couple episodes
100,
ago.
I don't know, 50. But
500.
Getting in touch and camping, honestly, camping.
Oh,
Getting in touch with like the way we used to thrive, and in a world where that's no longer a thing. And I was telling Sean the other day that I feel like I have to have an existential threat in order to finish anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there needs to be a threat to my livelihood for me to finish a book. Really? There needs to be a contract I signed for me to finish a book. There needs to be somebody I need to match, like you for this podcast. It's like, no, I gotta match him every week. If I don't know, I've made it out. I don't know what's gonna happen. I lose.
Yeah.
Or like when we create the doc. It's like always a silent race.
Oh, we fight to see who gets to do it first.
Who's going to make the doc?
Neither of us ever do it the day before we record. No. We always do it like, who's going to do it an hour before or an hour and a half before or 10 minutes before.
And then sometimes I'm like 4 hours. I'm like, doc created. And you're like, oh.
Bitch.
Or last week, we created it at the same time. I exited the doc and there was another episode 79 doc next to it, almost identical. Mm-hmm. I knew this would get all crazy. So I'm going to go back. So this is pre-industrial revolution, but post-agricultural revolution. There's about 9,000 years in there.
Yeah.
And this is when we start, because there's only like a few million people on Earth at this time. And it's small groups. We didn't need a bunch of people. We could all help each other. And I'm repeating things as I lost my place.
That's okay.
Hold on.
I'm on board.
Rewind to about between 200 and 500 years ago, when the world began shifting again. And I'd like to think this kind of started with the plague and a complete restructuring of society after 1/3 of the population was decimated. Suddenly, everything was up for grabs. The rich died, the poor died, the kings died, the priests died. Everybody, no one was immune. And suddenly there was land up for grabs in England and Europe and the Middle East, where it's like the entire social structure flipped. Yeah. It went from having feudal lords to having people who could make money on their own, who could buy their own land. And it kind of kickstarted this capitalistic thing that started happening in the 1600s with the Dutch East India Company. I mean, arguably it ruined the world because the Dutch and the English ravaged everyone. But that drive to make money and to make something of yourself became such a thing that the Industrial Revolution, all these innovations, that all came together and it changed everything. Yeah. Suddenly, we had to clock into factories every morning at 9 o'clock and clock out at 5. We had to go and do repetitive things every day.
Yeah, repetitive
Shout out
is the part.
to the matchstick girls who would just dip those matchsticks in all day. Making
Episode
millions.
2?
Yeah. Episode 2. The repetitive actions. And through this Industrial Revolution, people started falling through the cracks because if you were lucky, you could find a job doing something that ADHD really lent itself well to, such as innovating or building or, construction or arts or writing. But for the majority of people with ADHD, they fell through the cracks. And this is also when homelessness started taking off like crazy. I want to say before maybe like 1,000 years ago, homelessness and beggars did not exist. We didn't. Why would they? If we had a community where everyone was pitching in and they found examples of examples of bones from thousands of years ago of a kid with Down syndrome who had lived to be into his 20s. Stuff like that, where it's like the society wasn't about even the people who couldn't quote unquote contribute, or someone who was born with like, they didn't leave them behind. So what's to say they would ever let someone be homeless? It goes against our very nature. Yeah. And so these people with ADHD who couldn't have a job, who couldn't hold a job, or who just fell through the cracks, ended up being on the streets. And to this day, a lot of unhoused people have ADHD, have been diagnosed with ADHD. And it's...
ADHD also has like a propensity towards addictive behavior, right? There's like a correlation. There's a high correlation.
When there isn't dopamine, when there isn't novelty to be sought, to be went after, you start to replace it with self-medication. So drugs and stuff like, because our brains don't make that dopamine. We need to make it ourselves. We got to find it ourselves.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to say the Industrial Revolution has ruined everything, but
we can. I'm down with that.
I kind of think it has. I think it's been too quick. We have not had any time to catch up. And there's a huge part of the population, autistic people, mentally ill people, ADHD people, who completely get left behind. And it's getting better. And I was going to go off of what you said.
I'm all, what's getting better exactly?
Look, we'll innovate our way right out of those camps they put us in, okay? Okay, RFK?
Yeah.
I'm going to make that camp work so well. You're going to be freaked out.
I was going to say, yeah, look at this cool building that I made out of silver spoon, or not silver spoons, but like out of plastic spoons.
Yeah, look at this.
It's really interesting.
Like I made a catapult to launch us over the wall of the... Anyway, so the Industrial Revolution, last 200 years, it's really crunched. Even the last 20 years, I feel like I can't keep up.
The technological revolution with the internet and stuff, yep.
And now that we're the gods of AI, we have created our own versions of us, but less good.
Too lazy.
Where are we going to go with that now? Like,
transhumanism
we can't get into
is
AI.
what they all want. Yeah,
I know. It's
just die like just die like a man, bro. Okay, that's all I have to say to all you tech guys. You're not going to be immortal. You're going to die. Just stop making all of us pay for it. Just accept your death.
Just be okay with dying and be okay with being alone, because you're going to be.
It's okay to be scared. It's all right to be afraid of death. The man who's not afraid of death is the man that I'm afraid of.
Yeah, it's okay to be afraid.
We're all
you don't have to conquer everything.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing. It's like there's nothing left to conquer. Okay, fine. We'll conquer life itself. We'll conquer death itself.
Conquer having a normal relationship with another human being. How about that first?
How about that? How about pay attention to your 10 kids, Elon? Anyway,
Eglon, please. We don't
Eglon.
call him Elon.
Sorry, Eglon. So the studies that went into figuring this out, and here's the thing: it is a theory. There's, of course, no way to tell if these traits have any common gene that is in us now. Except there is one. There's one, the novelty-seeking gene. It's called the DRD4 gene. So they did this experiment. There's a tribe in Kenya called the Arial tribe. I think I'm pronouncing that correct. Okay. And they're unique because part of them are completely nomadic, and the other part of them are stay in one spot, are farmers. And so they were able to compare these two groups against each other. And they found that those with ADHD traits tended to thrive in the nomadic setting. And those that had them in the other setting tended to be less healthy, less well-fed, less focused, and less happy. So they were like, so the novelty-seeking aspect of this is really important. And it rewards it in the nomadic lifestyle.
Yeah.
They also found that they did this test recently, a computer test, like a computer game of berry picking. They did a berry picking computer game, which sounds hilarious. And it was an online foraging game, and they I
can already figure out where this is going to go.
Yeah,
continue.
You know exactly what I know,
because I'm like, I immediately have the image in my head. I know exactly what I would. Yes,
I would go
100% know where this is going.
What would you do? What would you do?
Well, I don't even know what the game is, but I'm just saying that
so there's
the
a bunch
longer
of
you
bushes
do it.
With berries.
And I'm like, the longer you do it, I'm looking for berries. Then I would get obsessive about like, okay, well, what berry tastes like what? What berry is poisonous? What berry is good? What are the good berries? What are the best berries? Are the best berries the ones that have like bigger little bulbs in them? Are they more red? Are they more yellow? Yeah. What time of day is the best time to pick those berries? What season is the best? Does it work different if I pour more water on it? But maybe it's not water. Maybe the dirt underneath it is what. Is this right? Yes.
Yes.
I would be obsessed with berries.
Berries would be my new profession. Be like, here we go. I'm queen of berries now. I guess I'm the berry master.
Oh, it's interesting. So, here's this weird like African bee that shows up. I wonder if that has something to do with it. Then I go to that thing. And then I'm like,
it only comes to this plant.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to help that bee in its hive because if I give more honey or whatever to that shit, it's going to make more berries.
More berries.
This is how the brains work.
100%. And
can we make this game? Can we play this game?
I really want to play
the berry game.
I want to play the berry game. And I think the berry game is just being a gardener. I think we can just do it as gardens. But so each person, they were given this game where there was a bunch of bushes with berries on them. And they each got 8 minutes to pick as many berries as they could. And all the neurotypical people stuck to one bush and picked all the berries off of one bush, then went to the next one and picked all the berries off of that one. Which just the idea of sitting at the same bush the whole time picking all the berries makes me want to kill myself. I'm like, I can't. No, because what about the other bushes? And the ones who ended up getting more points and had ADHD traits were the ones who went from bush to bush and got a little bit of berries from each of them, because it introduced diversity into their diet, and it introduced yeah, exactly, like
well, not only that, but also like you're not stripping the entire bush of all of its berries. Right. So you're allowing for other berries to continue growing on those bushes.
Maybe they're not all ready. Maybe they're not all ready to eat. Have you thought about that?
Maybe you don't want to destroy that whole plant by taking off all the berries. You're going to come back later.
Some berries because bees need to go. Anyway, so
we're fundamentally anti-capitalist in that way, which is really funny. You're like letting it exist.
And that is why they go for the arts first.
Yeah.
When it comes... No, I'm not kidding. I'm not even kidding. When it comes to an authoritarian society, they go for the arts first. They go for the free thinkers first. They go for the people with arguably with ADHD first. It honestly reminds me a little bit of Willem Arendeus, the guy who blew up the registry in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
And how he was like kind of floating through life and had no motivation. And then suddenly he was like, oh no, I'm going to kill. Here's
the structure. Yeah. He's
like, this is my motivation. And I will go to the end of my life.
And there's all these skills that I didn't know that I had because I never had a place to apply them. Yeah.
I didn't know that I could. Yeah. So I just want to say a little bit of my experience and we can kind of get into this.
Yeah.
But this 100% makes sense to me. I remember being in school, and I'm sure you can attest to this, and thinking, there was a moment I remember thinking, I'm stupid. I think I'm stupid. Mm-hmm. There must be something wrong with me. Like I assumed that everyone also had the buzzing bees in their head, the storm of ideas, and that they had somehow mastered it and gotten it under control. And I must be the one that can't do it. What I didn't realize is that not everybody has that kind of brain. Mm-hmm. And I was assuming everyone thought like I did, and they just mastered it, and they didn't. And how did they focus enough to study for a test and then actually finish the test? How did they stop talking? How did they stop drawing on their paper? How were their notes just words? My notes were a full image and pictures and designs, and I had to like do bubble letters to make myself not want to die in class. Why are parent-teacher conferences an absolute hell on earth, where there's just an itemized list of everything I am not good at?
I still have PTSD from like my parent-teacher conferences every single year.
Dude, they were horrible.
Every single year I got in trouble.
They're so bad.
Every year.
Time. I would feel sick to my stomach walking in there. Like, here we go. Another list of all my deficiencies. And then me trying to say, I don't know. And they're saying that's not an excuse. You not knowing is not an excuse.
Yeah.
I forgot, not an excuse. It is an excuse because
your class sucks.
You're not making it fun. And I barely scraped by. Yeah. And it wasn't until I got diagnosed with ADHD when I was 23 in college, after failing out of college for the first time, that I started realizing that, oh, not everyone's like this. I just don't work in this system.
My friend Kelly, who was the one who told me about Charles Delshaw, she got diagnosed as autistic later, and ADHD and all this stuff. And then I remember she said something to the extent of like, I can't believe I've been playing the game of life on hard mode this entire time. Exactly. And there was an option to play it in a way that was like not on the hardest level.
You could get accommodations.
Yeah. She was just like her brain exploded. She was like, oh. And then you think about like, I can't believe all those years, all that frustration that I had. I mean, but
all the self-worth too.
Reasons. Yeah.
Where it's like that whole thing, like it made it worse. It made my anxiety worse. All the comorbidities, because anxiety and ADHD overlap in a lot of the hypervigilant ways. Because anxiety is also an evolutionary benefit. Because with people without anxiety, everyone would die. It's just overactive now because we live in a society that doesn't need us to be on alert all the time. Yeah. And I don't know. I loved hearing all of this because I don't think it's a disorder, personally.
Yeah.
I really don't. I think that it's an evolutionary mismatch. We are mismatched to...
I'm on board with that.
...this society, and we have got to find ways to not make it boring to be alive. And I was only able... I barely scraped by high school. I barely scraped... I didn't even graduate from college, but I did all the classes I wanted to do. I just couldn't get through the ones I didn't want to do. I was a solid 2.0 student, and I took that personally for a long time. I got like a 22 on the ACT, which is dumb. Apparently, well, that's what all my friends were like getting like 30s. And I was like, I'm dumb. No, I just can't take tests. But here's the thing. I could make people laugh, and I could make funny drawings, and I could play the saxophone really well.
Yeah.
And I could win Shakespeare competitions. Talking
Shakespeare good. Yeah.
Dude, I talk Shakespeare real good. And drama class, I got to sit on the floor. I got to sit on a couch. I got to run around.
Your favorite is to lie on the floor.
I got to lay on a dirty
What if
floor.
you got to take the ACTs on the floor with a lead, like a pencil just filled with lead? Only lead. You would have aced it.
But through all of this, I think it also can make us into people pleasers and to we self-police ourselves into thinking we're the wrong ones. We're the ones with the issues. Time and time again, I've had friends or colleagues or people who work with me be like, what is wrong? Why can't you just do this? And it's like, because there's nothing I need to go find berries. I need to pick berries for the group. Okay, that's why I can't do this. I need to pick berries, and you need to make sure I don't forget my berry picking supplies because we're a group and we help each other. I'm going to
call you out on this. How many years have we been friends? Never once have you brought me a basket of berries.
I'll bring you one.
So I'm waiting. Okay.
Fine.
Waiting for that basket of berries, Hannah.
And I'm going to end on a quote.
Okay.
All right. It's from Dr. David Barak, who did the study with the berry game, berry picking game. He says, if these traits were truly negative, then you would think that over evolutionary time, they would have been selected against. Our findings are an initial data point, suggestive of advantages in certain choice contexts. So he's saying that if they weren't good for us, they would have been selectively taken out. But they're consistently in 10% of the population. So, boom.
You need us.
That's my tab. You need us.
You might not like us, but you need us.
And if you know anything about us in this show, anyway, I went over a little bit, but that
was awesome. No, that was super stimulating. I really love that. That was very fun.
Oh, good.
Thank you for
I forgot. I wanted to get into really quick autism as well, because they're very linked. Autism is also an evolutionary thing. I just want to get it really quick. And those genes are almost even more ancient than ADHD, and they can be traced back to Neanderthals. The way that really good memory, places and patterns, hypersensitivity to sounds like ADHD, and then internal systems of analyzing and structuring the world in a way that makes sense and that you can apply to a society that you are living in. So, with autism, it's very structured. There's a very structured worldview, and it's good for tool making and innovating and finding ways to do things more efficiently, which is crucial to survival. Anyway,
nice.
That's it. What do you?
Shout out to our friends with autism spectrum on this ADHD autism spectrum.
Hop on that Discord. It's pretty much that's a huge support group. For people with ADHD.
For all of us with some sort of, although we don't call them disorders now. What did you say? It was a evolutionarily
difference, cognitive difference.
No, what was the term? Evolutionarily
mismatch.
Mismatch. The evolutionary mismatch.
Oh, I never even
we should start doing that. I'm an evolutionary mismatch content creator instead of saying I'm
a
an
night
ADHD
watchman.
Content creator. Yeah, I think night watchman. Honestly though, I want to make.
I didn't even
I feel
get
like
into
that's
that.
a thing. Oh right.
They called it the night watchman because
I get it.
ADHD people tend to stay up later than everybody else, and we needed people to be up late to literally watch out for the.
I'm not that guy. I'm the day watchman. I'm the day
You're
man. You're the night man.
But that's also why, we have people who are night owls and who are early birds, because we needed people to watch over. And many ADHD people and the way that they could think really lend itself well to the nighttime, which is why my creative bursts come at 10 p.m. Anyway.
One of these days we'll have to record an episode at 10 p.m. instead.
I would love that.
In the morning.
I'd be on point.
I would absolutely. Here's the thing. You're more cognizant in like 11 or 12 a.m. or 11 a.m. or 12 p.m. when we record than I would be at 10 p.m. At 10 p.m. I would just not be functional.
You'd die.
Yeah. I'd be like, my tab today. Dude, if we recorded at like 7 in the morning, I would be even more insufferable.
I'd be horrible. I'd be useless.
This is the best that we can do. Anyway, thank you for that. What did we say? I remember before I was like, thank you. By the way, as Hannah mentioned before, we do have a Patreon that you can go help us become more ADHD. I don't know what we'd be.
Help us monetize our quote unquote disorder.
I'll tell you this. We this tab went long, so I'm sure there's some sort of outtakes from this that will be on the Patreon, where we go into discussions at length about our experiences with it. It's all going to be fun stuff. So thank you for that tab. That was a delight.
What do you have?
Delight.
You told me yours is dumb, so I'm excited to hear this.
I mean, it's dumb in the sense that like it's not like a serious tab. I wouldn't call it. I wouldn't say that like it's dumb. No, that's what I said. I'm saying that my own explanation of it. My tab today, this is a tab from before I even had tabs.
What?
Yes.
Huh? Okay. Ooh.
Which means we got to travel all the way back to the previous century when I grew up.
Oh. Okay.
I'm talking the 1990s, baby, when
Yes.
little Kaveh Taherian was in his preteen years. This is when
being asked to not talk to his friends in class.
Exactly, being ADHD,
be put in the hallway.
getting in trouble. Oh, God, I got sent to the hall. Why would you send this to the hallway? All you're doing is that you're putting putting me in a proscenium. You're putting a window here that I'm going to perform at while you teach the class, so that I stand outside and make funny faces to make my friends laugh in the class, and then get in worse trouble.
You are putting us front and center in a way we thrive in. Dude, I was such a hallway kid.
Oh, absolutely. I was in the hallway all the time.
Yeah.
Constantly. All day long.
That's what we should call it. Instead of ADHD, we were hallway kids.
Hallway kids. Hallway night watchers.
We were the night watch at the hallway. Anyway.
Watching those hallways while you were in class. Anyway, okay. Yes, I'm in my hallway getting kicked out. This is when MTV, music television, was still in fact music television.
Oh, yeah. Loved it.
Back in my day, MTV played music videos.
I watched those at night. That's it.
I watched those. I don't even know what MTV is anymore, to be honest with you. I don't
it's
even
reality
know.
TV.
That's what it is, huh? Pretty much.
But it's kind of edgier.
Edgy. It's edging. It's Edgefest, the reality.
It's Edgefest, yeah. It's Edgefest, the reality show, which is tune in to people just trying not to, anyway.
We keep showing them DVD videos to see if they'll break the Edgefest. Anyway, so the early 90s, of course, is the peak of music videos, not just in terms of our own tastes, because that's our childhood, but that's actually like industry output was like crazy. It's out of control. Like they were just constant because they had to fill the airwaves. So there's so many music videos that come out. Some of Hollywood's biggest directors come from that music video scene, like David Fincher, Spike Jonze, Explosion King, Michael Bay, all these people. Yeah.
I did not know that. Are you serious?
Oh, yeah. David Fincher was like one of the biggest music video directors, and that's kind of how he honed his craft. Crazy. It used to be that a lot of directors were they direct commercials before they.
Right.
That's kind of like where that era started. But then music videos was its own thing. There's a lot of famous music video directors that went on to direct big movies. But David Fincher is the biggest example that everyone always uses. He directed all these like George Michael and like Madonna videos, all kinds of stuff.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. It makes sense. It's like when you hear about like musicians now who would write songs for a bunch of people and then they become musicians in their own right.
And it was cool because you're like, okay, well, we have to make this music video for this artist. And so it's a quick turnaround. It was a way of like essentially doing a lot of shorts and sort of honing your craft and really getting good at it. And then some of them took the jump
I bet that was like
stage.
a great practice and which lended itself well to the transition to movies.
Exactly. But so nowadays it's very different. Everything's very splintered. So there'll be videos by like Megan Thee Stallion that has like 500 billion views on YouTube and I'll have somehow like never heard of it.
Yep.
Not just because I'm old, but because, tech has siloed us all into personal prisons. Who? Stacey Abrams?
Great Gracie Abrams.
Oh,
Who's
Gracie,
that?
I was like Stacey Abrams.
Stacey Abrams. There's just all these musicians where I'm like, sorry, what?
Yeah.
Who?
I just don't see it. It's not, again, I know the old person. This isn't the old person thing. I know the old person thing. This is different.
How it's set up. Yeah.
Yes. It's set up so that you don't ever see it.
Ever. There's no more monoculture at all in any way.
No.
It's these little pockets. And then.
Yeah. It's
crazy.
like snake eating its own tails, just having to consume the same thing over and over again. But for a time, like you said, it was a monoculture. We all watched the same channel. And a lot of these music videos would be like these big cultural events.
We all had the same body image issues if you grew up a girl.
That's exactly right. I was going to say they had their own problems of especially not just in terms of body issues, but also just non-mainstream artists jockeying for airtime and like who could fight for you the most. So it's like it's some of it was cool that I miss, and then other parts of it that are bad. It's good that it's gone.
It's both.
I miss the collective experience. Like that was the thing that was. It doesn't matter where you were from. Like we all kind of at least knew what main thing had happened or what main thing that we had seen.
And I remember being at school and some kid being like, okay, watch tonight and you would see this music video and this song and look for this. Because it was like people would like be like, oh, we'll talk about it. And you could go catch it watching VH1 or MTV.
Exactly. So one such video from this era always stands out to me. And if I had to explain it in today's terms, I feel it was sort of the best analog I can think of is like, it was kind of like the Barbenheimer of its day.
Okay.
And I'm not talking about two different music videos where I'm talking about there's one music video that, forgive the dated terms, but it sort of combined this conventionally masculine and conventionally feminine things that crossed over into like one big cultural event that everybody was talking about.
Okay.
And I don't know if I was like, I almost considered texting you to be like, have you seen this music video? Because I could see you having not seen this, because there's just parts of your pop culture knowledge that I know are just totally like erased.
Empty, gone. Yeah. Okay, well,
for those of you who may have known, you might have guessed, I'm talking about the 1991 masterpiece, November Rain by Guns N' Roses.
I know the song. I don't think I've seen the music video.
You haven't seen the music video?
No. Hold on. Let me check. Oh, no. Hold on. Can I watch it really quick?
Oh, no. I want you to hold. I want you to not watch it yet.
Oh, okay.
Does it look familiar or does it not look familiar?
Yes, it does. Okay. It does. I've seen this before. But it's one of those things where it's like, I was 5 when it came out.
Right.
But I had Gen X parents who watched a lot of MTV. And so there's these little like floating pop culture references that like touchstones, but there isn't any solid memory of it.
Okay, that's good.
The beginning where they're in the field with the church.
Yeah.
I recognize that.
Okay.
I'm not watching anymore.
If you're a person who hasn't seen this video, you should go watch it because it's an all-time classic. Some of the most iconic imagery in the history of like capital C cinema. I love it. Excited. It's still like one of my favorite music videos ever. And at the time, this is crazy. I didn't know this. November Rain was the most expensive music video ever made, coming in with a price tag of $1.5 million, which adjusted for inflation is around $3.6 million.
That's insane. Movies aren't even made for that much.
No.
That's crazy.
The LA Times summed it up best. Quote, November Rain has become to music videos what Titanic is to movies. A tad over the top, maybe even a little corny, but undeniably effective, an audaciously romantic blockbuster that continues to resonate and generate feverish speculation decades after it was made.
Ooh, okay.
Which, on YouTube, by the way, this gave me hope. It's got like 2 billion views or something insane like that.
Whoa. So it's still going.
Yeah.
Wow.
The music videos that have like billions of views are all the ones that were like from the modern era. But the fact that this is from like 30 years ago and has that many.
Almost 40 years ago.
Yeah. Oh, God, no.
Yeah.
So if you're a young person and this is before your time, it does. If this is before your time, I'm going to break it all down for you and I'll explain why this was such a huge deal. But in regards to how this was an early non-tab of mine, I'm going to explain that.
Okay.
So this video was part of a trilogy of videos that were produced for the Use Your Illusion records. The first one was Don't Cry, then it was November Rain, then it was Estranged. I don't know if you've seen all 3 of them or not.
I have no idea.
No idea. Okay. But it was a trilogy of videos and there was a narrative thread that carried across all 3 of them.
Oh, okay.
And they were all big budget productions. And
same band, right? I'm an idiot.
It's all Guns N' Roses.
Okay.
Guns N' Roses released Use Your Illusion and then they had 3 music videos.
Oh, okay, that's the album. Okay.
Yeah. They're awesome and they're kind of a disaster and they're beautiful. And if you go back and watch them, it's like this moment in time, like just trapped in amber. It's like so early 90s, but not like grunge 90s. It's like the weird period of like holdover from 80s into the 90s. Because grunge was its own one specific
very much
culture that ended up taking over everything. But I don't know. I watch those videos and I'm like, I love these. Yeah. But so back in high school, Logan, who I've mentioned many times, one of my best friends, we were obsessed with Guns N' Roses. We loved GNR. And
why does that makes sense?
Yeah, right.
All those photos you sent me of you like younger, it tracks.
Listen, if you played guitar or like had any interest in being in a band at that time and like kind of were interested, not just basic stuff, but if you're like, you inevitably go to Slash. All roads lead back to Slash.
Oh yeah, of course.
100%. And then you're like,
icon.
Oh, Slash is a cartoon character and an icon, but also you listen to his playing, you're like, this man is a poet. Like plays some of the most beautiful solos you'll ever hear. They're just in this weird package of a guy with a giant hair and a hat. Yeah. I love that, man. So at some point, Logan and I used to go all the time to like Amoeba or like Rasputin and all that, or in the East Bay. So one of the times that we went, I don't remember where we went or what it was, but probably one of the both. We went to the used record store and Logan found this VHS tape of the making, I think, of November Rain.
Dude, 90s kids and the making of videos? Nothing better. They don't make them like that anymore. I've watched making ofs.
I don't think they even make them for music videos. I don't think I've seen a making of music video available on VHS. By the way, this is the oldest person story ever.
I don't care. I love it. The making of anything just gave, I think it was just like a dopamine release for me because I could just see what went into it. And it's like this, you get to see all the little bits and parts and moving pieces. Like I remember I used to like fall asleep to the Lord of the Rings extended edition.
Steven always talks to Steven, our friend Steven Ray Morris. He's like those videos. He's like those DVDs. He thinks influenced a generation to go into film. I'm like, I think that's fair.
I
think
be able
to see that intensely in it.
I wanted to be an actor for a minute because of Lord of the Rings.
Listen, I love those movies. I'm never gonna shame
so
anybody
good
for that. Anyway, so also by the way, this is like DVD was on the ascent. So the idea that we found like a VHS tape of it was like kind of like weird and dorky and even more niche, but. And it's like kind of your standard BTS deal where they do like interviews with the band members about the production and how they write the song. But in the video, they also interview a man named Del James. And this is how we learned that the story of the trilogy of videos was inspired by a short story that he had written titled Without You. And at that time, there was no way to find his book of short stories.
What?
And I've always wondered what the hell this story was. Until today's tab.
Oh my goodness, are you kidding? So it's not even it's not even about the music video.
Oh so no, it's about all of it, Hannah. It's about all of it.
So you've spent 30 years with that in the back of your head.
Yes.
Being like, I wonder, over
what
and over
and over.
What is this
story? Yeah.
And you've never looked it up until now.
I had just forgotten about it. It was just buried in the back of my head. So for context to the listeners, I texted Hannah a couple years ago being like, my head's going to explode right now because I don't know how to, what was happening is that there's all this information that it's just been weirdly lodged in my brain that just all of a sudden came rushing forward, trying to like all push its way into how I was going to structure this tab. And I was like, I need to lie down because I don't know what to do with all of this information.
It was this one?
It was this. Because I have years of Guns N' Roses lore and knowledge and all this crap that I've watched. It's just, that's my original ADHD deep dive that I had done.
This is the equivalent of you like memorizing good hunting grounds and stuff.
Yes.
Like, no joke. Like, just like, this information can help us in the future. I need to keep it.
I don't know why. It was just a curiosity.
There's nowhere for it to go but here.
Exactly. So it's like, I've been prepping for this my whole life to get to this tab.
Oh, I'm honored. And then pairing with my deep dive on why we are the way we are. Here's your example
of it. Yeah, here's 30 years of Guns N' Roses knowledge that is useless in any other context.
Textbook, as your psychiatrist said.
Yep. Also, I was talking about it with Sarah, and then Sarah and I watched the video, and then she got all into it, which was really funny. And she was like, "Oh, did you know this and this?" And I was like, "Yes, I did, as a matter of fact."
Actually.
We had our friend Alex who showed up, and she's a little bit younger, and she was like, she was like, November Rain, like what? And then we sat down and made her watch all the videos together, and then she was like, hold up, something ain't right. She was all like into it, and then she was like calling us afterward. It turned out to this whole, shout out to Alex. I was like, I have hope for future generations because she fully got it, but.
Are you going to let me watch this?
Eventually.
Okay.
Because I want you to experience what we experienced.
Okay.
So for that, anyway, I'm already doing this where I'm getting manic about it, but let's go back even further in time. You
texted me 2 days ago. You're like, by the way, I'm insane and I can't have this tab ready because I'm insane and I went way overboard and I don't know what to do anymore. So we pushed it a day and then you were like, actually, I can do it the same day as I said I could because I went manic in the morning and finished it. And I'm like,
yep. This is what do they say? They're like, write the story that you would have loved when you were a kid. I'm doing the tab that if I had heard this when I was like 16 or 17, I would have been like, okay, now I understand. Yes. So I'm reaching through time.
Yes.
To talk
like
to Logan and I.
16-year-old Kaveh. Yeah.
Drinking Mountain Dew on a couch, playing Contra in between band practice.
So good.
Yeah.
That's the life. You got to send this episode to Logan. I don't know if he listens.
Oh, I for sure
will.
What
up, Logan?
What up, Logan? Okay, so Adalberto James Miranda, who simply goes by Del James, was an aspiring writer and journalist when he moved to Hollywood from New York back in 1985. And by chance, he and Axl Rose had a mutual acquaintance who introduced them to one another. And Del and Axl became fast friends. And this is before Appetite for Destruction had even been released.
Oh, so it was before they were even a name.
Exactly. It was before they had really blown up. They were just sort of like gaining a reputation on the Sunset Strip.
Crazy.
And by all accounts, they were and still are like BFFs who seem to genuinely see each other as creative equals, despite the fact that Axel is like a generational icon. But
right.
Axel holds Del in like high regard. And being a writer, Del took a lot of inspiration from his own experiences and the people around him, as one does when you start writing a story.
That's what writers do.
And at the time, Axel was living with his then girlfriend and eventual annulled marriage wife, Erin Everly, who, by the way, is the daughter of one of country music icons, the Everly Brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa. Dude,
I didn't know
this.
this.
Is the thing with music. You get into the nitty gritty and they're all married to each other.
Yeah.
They're all linked or they're all married to some actor's kid.
Someone's got to know the life.
Mm-hmm.
You seek each other out. Yeah. Knowing his best friend's strengths and flaws and undeniable talent, Del had a vision of the tragedy of what could become Axel's life. Oh. This is what drives him to write the story Without You.
Okay.
And after finishing the story, he called up Axel and he just said, "Hey, I just wrote my best friend's death."
Are you kidding?
No. It's kind of like it's cheeky a little bit. It's like cheeky, awesome. Satirical, horror-y, like whatever.
Yeah. No, that sounds like something you and I would do.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, here's the story about how you finally die, Hannah. Yeah.
And I would laugh and laugh and laugh.
Exactly.
Like,
so that's kind of what it is.
Weird coincidence, I also wrote yours.
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
So, sensing Guns N' Roses' inevitable meteoric rise, Del wrote the story of a rock star named, are you ready for this?
No.
Main Man.
What? Just Main Man?
Mayne, Maine, and then the last name Man, like Mann. So on paper, it looks like a normal name, but of course,
like Amy Mann, but
Main Man, my main man.
Hey, Main Man. Oh, I would hate that. I'd be like, I don't want to call you that.
Yep. So Maine was a hugely successful rock star who had properties in Manhattan and Houston, a house in Maui, and of course, a requisite mansion in the Hollywood Hills. Who is this? Okay, all right. This is the story this is a story that Del writes. Where this is before Axel becomes big. This is a guy. He's like, it's not Main Man, it's Axl Rose, quote unquote.
It's
not Axl Rose, it's Main Man. Basically, he writes a story of like, what if this is what I think is going to happen in Axel's life? It's like inspired by where he thinks Axel's life will go.
Okay.
Or like a version of what Axel's life could lead to. So Maine has all these properties. He's got a Hollywood Hills mansion, but he doesn't go there because it's filled with too many painful memories of lost love. He lives in this like separate condo.
But it has an empty house just dedicated to the loss of...
Classic Hollywood move.
Very.
And memories that he channeled into writing the biggest hit of his career, which was called Without You.
Uh-huh.
Without You was inspired by his relationship with ex-love of his life, Elizabeth Aston.
Okay.
And on one of their last nights together, Elizabeth expressed her frustration with their codependent relationship by telling Maine, "I can't live with you and I can't live without you."
Oh, yeah.
Shrug emoji.
Shrug. You say that. That's one of your catchphrases now. It's perfect.
Because I hate it.
Yeah. Who made that up? Was it Alyssa that said that?
I think I said it. I think because I was too lazy to pull up the shrug emoji, so I just wrote shrug emoji.
You wrote shrug emoji, and now that's how you respond. Like, I get that message from you once or twice a week. Shrug emoji. He just spells it out. Also, I don't like what the shrug emoji looks like. You can't tell what they're doing.
You can't tell. He's like holding a couple of balls in their hands like this. I don't know. Anyway,
ball juggler.
As far as the events of the story itself goes, there's not much to it. So let me be clear. I went and found the book. You can get like a Kindle version of it.
Really? Okay, so it's available. You can find the story.
It's a collection of short stories. I found the short story itself. There's also a foreword written by Axl that's kind of long, which Axl Rose is pretty, unsurprisingly, he's a good writer. Like he's pretty
makes sense. Yeah.
Articulate about the way I would argue, hot take, he's a better writer than Del James
really?
In terms of like how the way that Axl explains, or
Yeah.
just like his diction and like the way he explains what the book's about and like why Del is important to him and their relationship, I find far more easy to read than like Del James's short story. But that's neither here nor there. But the actual story itself, there's not much in it. It's a lot of like backstory and like internal meandering. And there's this weird kind of like erotic fiction as he remembers a lot of like sexual encounters with Elizabeth and like a menage a trois with some groupies on the road.
This reminds me of Dennis Reynolds in Erotic Life.
Oh, yeah, it's totally Dennis Reynolds in erotic fiction or an erotic memoir. Is that what it is?
An erotic memoir. No, it's an Erotic Life.
An Erotic Life. Absolutely. That's like 50% of
Sinbad.
this. Yes, that's what it is. It's main man in erotic memoir.
Amazing. Okay.
There's also a bunch of like speedballing and heroin and doing cocaine and shit. And I'll get more into like specifically what happens in the story later. But so Axel says that his buddy Del had written an almost cautionary tale about him. Like, if you're not careful, like this is the kind of shit that could happen to you. So Axel wrote this specifically, quote, "For me, the short story Without You helped me focus on what could happen in my life and sometimes what was happening. Although Del was being inspired by situations that were going on in my life, it was his way of helping me acknowledge and deal with a painful situation. It stopped me at different times from going too far. When people are looking for their own identity in things that aren't going well, they'll settle for being the bad guy or the loser and create an identity that way."
Yikes. I hit home.
Right? Weirdly, I don't think, obviously, Axl Rose doesn't subscribe to this all the time, but a weirdly insightful thing for him to have said in the foreword.
Yeah, that's
I just said
I
weirdly,
find
by the way,
myself
weirdly.
doing that weirdfully. Let's go with it. I find myself falling into that sometimes, of making myself the enemy to people before they can make me the enemy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
and adhering to it, yeah, because it's hard to turn yourself around.
I'm a flake. I can't get things in on time. Back to ADHD, where it's like I'm going to make myself a caricature of myself before anyone else can touch it, and so there I'm 2 steps ahead. When really it's just destroying me even further.
Axl Rose out here giving you good therapeutic advice, but it's also interesting that Del wrote the story as like a way to kind of tell Axl, like, here's how you could screw up, and Axl's like, oh, okay,
really
like,
sweet, actually.
Yeah. They're total bros in that sense. It's really interesting, their relationship. So at this
cool
period
friendship.
of the mid-'80s, for Axl and Guns N' Roses, like, they're prolific. Like, they write like 1 million songs. A lot of, basically everything that they wrote is like in this like 5-year period. And
really?
Yeah. And half of them don't end up like getting finished until like a couple of records later. Interestingly, Estranged, which is the third song, the third music video that's part of the trilogy, apparently that's Axl's interpretation of the song Without You from the short story. So in the short story, Without You is the song that he writes.
It's a song.
And it's about his relationship with his ex-girlfriend that makes him all this money and he becomes famous, right? Or I mean, he's already famous, but it's the song that's like his big ballad that everyone plays everywhere.
Him, yeah.
So it's almost like Axl, the way I thought about it was, it's almost like Axl read a script for a movie and he was like, I'm going to write the song that's going to play in the movie. And that's what Estranged is, but for the short story.
Crazy.
It's fascinating. I thought that was so weird. So
yeah, that's
already
like meta.
Yeah, exactly. And already his friend wrote the story, and then that story ends up becoming a song on the next record.
This is the kind of crap I like. This is what I like.
Right.
This is like giving me the dopamine I need. This is completing the little parts of my brain that need to feel something. So thank you. This is really good. I know exactly why you've been obsessed with this for 30 years.
I didn't know that though. I didn't know that was the case.
Didn't? Okay, well, already I'm in. I'm in. You got me.
So anyway, it's wild. But also as part of this initial batch, there's November Rain that he writes, but it's not like finished. Axl's ambitions are greater than any of his own abilities or his ability to like get his bandmates on board. Also, November Rain's a very different song from everything that's on Appetite for Destruction. It would have no place on that record. It wouldn't have made sense. Okay. But that's neither here nor there. They record Appetite for Destruction. It gets released. Everyone rightfully loses their shit and they become the biggest band in the world.
Right.
This is one of the best records ever made. I don't care. It's dad rock. I don't give a shit. It's amazing.
Who cares?
Suddenly, this fictional story that Del had written starts to become sort of like this weird reality. And from the prevailing narrative of music journalism, says stuff that like, oh, Smells Like Teen Spirit killed everything from the 80s and like everything from the 80s was done. That's just not true. Guns N' Roses are selling out arenas and shit worldwide well into the 90s. Same with like Metallica. It's just like a whole weird narrative that's been retconned and I don't really understand why, but I guess it's cleaner.
It's because he died young.
True. Yeah.
I really do think that's it. You tend to glorify somebody's influence if there's a tragedy involved. And I'm not saying they weren't influential, but I'm saying that it solidified them as an iconic moment.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So they're going wrong. They're going along, and
They're
then
going wrong.
Axel's professional. They're going wrong. Axel's professional life starts reaching like outer space levels of success, obviously.
Right.
And meanwhile, his personal life, absolutely not.
Dude, I can't imagine shooting to stardom. That would ruin me as a person.
Here's the thing I always say. I don't know if I've mentioned this before. The thing that always trips me out now I'm 42 years old now. And I look back at the era of all, even now, still to this day, these people who are like a musician who like Billie Eilish is like, I don't know, like 11 years old when she
who knows?
reaches like worldwide stardom, right? Or like any of these people who are like 15, 16, 17, 18, early 20s. Axl Rose is like 23 or 24 when this band becomes the biggest band in the world, or 25 or whatever. But I'm like, imagine being 25 years old and playing arenas of like 10,000 people. You are not, your brain is not fully formed. I mean, maybe yours is because you're a woman and I'm a man, and men's brains don't develop until later. But you just don't. It's crazy. And then the expectation, I'm not forgiving bad rock star behavior or like musician behavior, but I'm saying is there's this weird thing where the cards are stacked against you. You're not fully formed. You have no idea who you are. You have no idea how relationships work. And suddenly you're in this insane situation where all these people are like reliant on you for money, and they're trying to push you into a certain thing. They're giving you all these 23 drugs and money. You don't know your head for your ass from a ham sandwich, right?
It's crazy. Everyone's going to lose money. Everyone, you know what I mean? So it's like, okay, so I have to do these drugs, these uppers, so I can play this show. Now I'm addicted. Oh, I got to keep doing it. It's just this cycle that never, ever, ever ends. And then, or it does, and it's tragic, or they get sober. You know, it's
or you don't do drugs and you have a mental breakdown like Britney, who's like part of the conservatorship and all that shit. And you're like, people are kept in these weird prisons for the sake of us being entertained. And it's really sad.
Yeah. It always reminds me of the image of somebody shooting at somebody's feet and saying, dance.
Yeah.
That's the vibe I get with these. It's like, no, we don't care. Dance. Entertain us, because that's what you've done and you need to keep doing it. And
I think this is pure, I'm absolutely projecting on this, but I would imagine part of this is also that's it's upsetting, is like music is a thing that these people love, and they love songwriting and they love playing and they love performing, and to have that thing that's so special to you sort of taken and made into this product to the point where you're like every night you have to go do it and you have to put on a show and like have to and like especially like bands when they go on tour at this time, like they're doing like 200 shows over the course of like 2 years or something. It's
each
crazy.
Weekend they're somewhere new.
There's got to be some insane unpacking that has to be done that takes years and years and years. It
makes sense why there's so much drug abuse and
and instability and all that.
Instability,
it's too much.
Broken
we're not meant to be like that.
Again, we're not meant to perceive more than 150 people.
100 people at a time.
It's it breaks your brain.
Anyway, so Axl and Erin Everly did get married on April 28th, 1990, but it was pretty much a disaster right out of the gate.
Wow.
It was plagued by constant fighting. Tragically, they had a miscarriage like a couple months into the marriage, which I think like pushes it even further.
That's really
into
sad.
An unraveling. It's very sad. It's really upsetting. And their marriage eventually ended about 10 months later.
Oh, wow.
They had gotten married in Vegas, with Axl stating, quote, again, weirdly, Axl Rose, when he writes, I'm just like, he sounds like a really mature adult, which his reflections don't really his actions don't reflect this. But he says, quote, Aaron and I treated each other like crap. Sometimes we treated each other great because the children and us were best friends. But then there were other times when we just messed up each other's lives completely. Again, so like weirdly beautifully written by Axl Rose.
The children and us were friends?
Yeah.
Why? That hit me really hard.
It's so heavy, right?
Oh my gosh. Look, because I feel, wow. Sorry, give me a sec. That's really poignant.
Yeah.
The children and us were friends. I feel like that a lot.
Yeah.
Not with my spouse, but just like there's a child and need it.
Oh, that's what you look for.
Yeah.
Anyway, again, don't want to overly state here like Axl Rose being a great guy who's well adjusted. I just mean that when he writes these things that are weirdly, really beautiful.
People can be many things.
Yeah. And it's sad, but like we said, the A&R monster must be fed. And it's time now, after they go around and they do Appetite for Destruction, it's time to record their follow-up. And despite being plagued by, they're plagued by excessive ambition, egos, infighting, too much money, and of course, a lot of drugs and booze. Guns N' Roses managed to release Use Your Illusion, not as one, but as a double record, 2 separate albums, simultaneously released that debuted at numbers 1 and 2 on the Billboard charts for the week of September 17th, 1991.
Wow. That was what people were doing at the time. There was a lot of the double album releases, like the I just keep thinking of like Sandinista by The Clash. Like they did a double album, but it's one of those things where a lot of times it doesn't work. Like they could have done one and just cut half those songs, but it sounds like they did a double album and both of them were like number one.
But did Sandinista come out as a double CD or two separate records? Which one?
No,
I'm saying did it come out as a single release, had two CDs on it?
Okay, yeah, it was two CDs.
No, this is literally there's Appetite for Destruction separate? 1 and Appetite for Destruction 2.
So the top were separate entities.
Correct.
Whoa.
They're separate CDs, so you buy twice the amount of CDs. So number 1 and number 2, I think I think Use Your Illusion 2 was number 1, and then Use Your Illusion 1 was number 2.
That's
it's crazy,
wild.
right? Like, but I can't overstate how big
No.
this band was at the time. And of course, to match a gigantic record with double the ambition, you got to have an insanely large music video to match it.
Yes, you do.
And Del and Axl, they're still BFFing, and their dreams are getting bigger, and they're chatting about whatever, probably like, sitting on the phone, like on their beds, painting their nails, being like, oh my God, what do you think we should do with this? And yeah.
Moving their feet back and forth,
Exactly.
Swinging their feet.
Twirling.
I think we should make a 3-part music video that ruins Kaveh Taherian's life.
Or does it enrich it? No,
both.
They do. So actually, they initially discussed about turning this. They had this ambition to turn Without You into a feature film. There's all these discussions that they're having.
Okay.
But they do something more unexpected. These songs were inspired by a relationship in Axl's life, and now Axl's life had suddenly become the story that was inspired by this relationship, which is like weird, like you said, this is bizarre meta construct. It's all messy and interconnected. So they thought, screw it. Let's make a trilogy of insanely huge music videos that tell the fictional, quote unquote, story of Main Man.
Amazing. This is insane already.
As I mentioned, Estranged was directly influenced by Without You. So obviously that would be one of them. The forthcoming November Rain was the song's predecessor in the story, because that one was about unrequited love, and then Estranged was about sort of acknowledging that. Right. So what would be the first one in the trilogy? So I know I'm just saying this. I know they're asking themselves this. I don't think that.
Oh, sorry. I was like, I don't know. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I know you wouldn't know like all the different singles that were released.
It's funny because Guns N' Roses is one of those bands where I was like, it was like Beyonce, where I'm like, I don't know what she sings. I don't know what Guns N' Roses sings. And I hear a song and I'm like, oh yeah, that's Guns N' Roses. Or, that's Beyonce for me. That's what Beyonce is. I'm like, what does she do? Oh yeah, a bunch of stuff.
Greatest hits, Welcome to the Jungle, obviously.
Of course. Oh,
Sweet Child of Mine.
Oh.
Paradise City.
See, I didn't grow up listening to that because it was a little more kind of cheesy stadium rock, and my parents were like, my dad was always like, we don't allow anyone to listen to Styx.
We're going to play Mazzy Star in this home.
No, my dad was like, we're playing 70s punk rock and new wave. It was, I don't know. It
doesn't have to be either or. That's the myth. I love all of that.
It's funny because my dad is like, there's a lot of, you would understand this, but like my dad and my sister both have a really hard time with anything that sounds like a musical. So anything that's really earnest or like cheesy. So like Queen, for example, like my sister cannot listen to Queen because she's like, it just sounds like a musical and I hate musicals.
I could understand that. I still love Queen, obviously, but
I love Queen too, because to me it's like, it's Freddie. It's not a musical. It's like, it's
opera. It's not
opera,
musicals, it's an opera.
Exactly. But so there was all those like Styx and like Journey. Those were, my dad was like, I know, I can't handle these.
Oh, I didn't really listen to Styx or Journey, to be honest. But
they're
part of it too was
earnest in a way that is uncomfortable.
And but the thing with the Guns N' Roses, for especially Logan and I, it was like there's so many of those riffs where you're like, you had to have been on heroin to write this riff.
Right.
Like, it just doesn't make like no sober person would have written. Yeah, it's like funny enough, Mr. Brownstone, the song's about heroin. If you go listen to that riff and you try and figure out how to play, you're like, why would your fingers do this? Like it doesn't make sense. And so it's like there's this fascination with like these rhythm parts, and then of course Slash being Slash, you're like, oh, again, I always say that like his solos are always so much, he's so melodic in a way, but it's got the veneer of like the shreddy part of it, but it's
really,
so much
really
more
listen to
like,
it, you're like, this is crazy.
Yeah, particularly November Rain. But anyway, so to go back, so they're like, what's the first music video going to be? And so their first single was a song called Don't Cry, which you probably haven't heard that one, but don't you cry tonight, I still love you. You know that one. Okay. So that's gonna be their first one. You have heard that one. Yeah, that's the first single from that's the first music video in the trilogy.
Okay.
And that song was written about it was a love triangle that was between Axl and recently departed guitarist Izzy Stradlin that were both involved with like one woman. And then they kind of have this. So according to Axl, they have this like tension between him and Izzy. And it was kind of weird for a while. And then eventually Axl buried the hatchet by showing up at Izzy's door, like in the middle of the night with lyrics to Don't Cry as like this weird peace offering. And he's like, let's write a song about it instead of going to therapy, like bros before hoes, whatever.
It's so high school. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's very high school. But again, they're like 20, whatever, 2.
And they're going to be that forever. They're stuck at 23.
They're trapped.
Yeah. It's like Justin Bieber. I can't blame him for most things. She's like,
Oh, yeah.
He's 14.
Oh, yeah. That's another one. I was like, that kid was like 11 when he got famous.
He didn't stand a chance.
Why do you expect him to adjust?
Stop holding him to the standard that you hold to everyone else when you put him on the pedestal and then got mad at him for being on the pedestal.
Right. How is a 12-year-old's brain supposed to react to that?
Right. It's
without
not. They're
proper
12.
parental sort of like interference.
And he did not. That's the problem.
He did not have it. Yeah.
No.
So they write the song, and Axl sees this music video called by George Michael for Father Figure. I don't know if you've ever seen that music video of the song. That's a great song, by the way. A lot of George Michael songs were great. And the director, his name is Andy Morahan. So he's like, great. That's kind of the vibe that we're going for. So he recruits him into this little creative pocket with him and Del.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're going to bring our creative ambitions into life. And as I mentioned before, Without You doesn't tell a huge story so much as it tells a bunch of backstory. There's not really like a clear narrative that could be told episodically. So they kind of like come up with some new ideas and they take inspiration and they mock up an expansion of apparently what some people now refer to as the November Rain cinematic universe.
Amazing. Okay.
There's this whole other podcast
one of
that's
the Hemsworth
dedicated to it.
brothers in there. Surely they're available. Maybe like 6 or 7 years old. Let's get them in.
And then they put together Don't Cry. And Don't Cry would be rife with symbolism. Birth, death, being literally frozen in a state of paralysis, drowning with a loved one because they can't let go, exploding Mustangs, helicopters, guns.
The exploding Mustang part of a relationship is always the hardest. When we both go out in a fiery death in an exploding Mustang.
That's the thing they say is that like you got to generally wait after 6 months because, you know, if all you're thinking you're in that weird like love mode where you're like, oh, it's the honeymoon phase. The exploding Mustang phase could misalign you. It could make you think that that's going to be all exploding Mustangs all the time. But after 2 years in a relationship,
life's not all exploding Mustangs.
I wish it would be.
The old adage goes.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I love making up old sayings that don't exist.
Listen, my dad used to say, don't marry a girl just because you guys exploded a Mustang together.
While it's fun and the adrenaline does bind you together, might not last.
Ironically, an old Iranian phrase. I didn't know that until lately, but I have to read into that. I'm going to do a tab on exploding Mustangs and old Iranian lore one day.
But Mustang meaning a horse.
Exactly.
Tradition.
An actual exploding horse.
Exploding.
No, at one point it's like slashing this girl, or like she's like screaming at him as he's driving the Mustang, and then he just drives it off the cliff with her in it, and he's in it, and then you think they die, and then they blow it up in the video, and then it cuts back to the top of the mountain, and then he's just playing this solo like shirtless, and then he just throws the guitar off the cliff and then walks away. It's like one of these like it's so 80s 90s, and you're like I don't understand what's happening, but it's imagery and it's insane. So it holds my attention.
I see. Yeah.
And there's an eventual rebirth in it. You should watch that one after this. It's really bizarre. It's cool. It's a really cool video. But despite its morbid appearance, I think it's actually meant to be kind of like a weirdly positive story. Because
that sounds like it to me. Yeah.
In the thing, it's like it's about the death of main man, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about like and there's a bunch of shots of like Axl as like a corpse. You would like this part. He's like literally buried and like they're hanging out and you see they're in a cemetery and you see his tombstone and there's like a dead Axl that's underneath the ground going like, oh, and he's all green and it's supposed to be like his gangrene body that's decayed.
Gross.
But then he's like on the surface with his girlfriend and it's like, it's kind of hard to piece together, but
it's like rebirth through destruction kind of thing.
Rebirth through destruction. But I think it's about his old ego and how he needs to like let go jealousy and selfish. Yeah. And they do actually, he goes to therapy in the music video, which is depicted in it.
And so he's doing like this.
Yeah, he's like, he's going through, I think it's regression therapy is what it was.
Oh, yeah.
That they're depicting in it.
That's sketchy. They don't do that anymore.
But listen, he's a rock star in the early 90s. He's trying.
He can do whatever he wants.
Yeah. And he needs to let go of old hangups or something. And it's kind of fascinating to look at. And when it gets time to cast who was going to play Elizabeth to Axel's Maine, they decide to cast Stephanie Seymour. Do you remember Stephanie Seymour?
Wait, wasn't she in? No, that was somebody else. Not Ferris Bueller's Day Off, right?
I don't think she was in that movie.
Oh, that was Sloane. Sloane something else.
Oh yeah,
no,
not
Stephanie
actually
Seymour. Hold on, can I look her up?
Yeah, look up Stephanie Seymour.
Oh yeah, okay, I know who she is.
She's a huge deal.
Oh yeah. Wow, interesting face.
Yeah,
I know who that is. Anyway, they cast her.
And this is back when supermodels were like world famous. Like that was a thing from our childhood that I remember too. Also in a lot of music videos, particularly George Michael, he used to cast
very much. There was a lot of supermodels. I mean, just like they were like goddesses almost. They were like these worshipped the world over. We all know these like Venuses. Like
they're all like 8 feet tall. Yeah,
and they're all like perfect, voluptuous, and strange faces, but that are beautiful and iconic.
Yeah, and so Stephanie Seymour was also like hugely popular. In particular, she had been like on the cover of Vogue. She was a Victoria's Secret angel. She was in Sports Illustrated, exactly. And now she was going to be like in this Guns N' Roses music video. So everyone's like, "Oh my god, what?"
It's a big deal.
So I think, if I'm not mistaken, I might be mistaken, but a lot of people assume that they were together.
Here's how I know who Stephanie Seymour is because she dated Julian Casablancas' dad.
That's right, because she was signed to Elite.
But she was a child when he dated her.
She was young, He famously dated a lot of young ladies.
He was 42 and she was 14.
Great.
Yeah.
He was 42, my age. Me dating a 14-year-old?
Yeah, that's a crime. You're grossed out because you're normal. So,
ew.
Aren't you happy? Aren't you happy you're normal?
Yes. I'm glad I'm not dating a 14-year-old right now.
I got really deep into reading about the Casablancas because I was like, hold on, he comes from what family?
Yeah.
The Casablanca. And yes, I knew about her because of this.
Yep.
Anyway.
So I think the general knowledge was that Axl Rose and Stephanie Seymour were dating already, and that's how she got cast. But I don't think that's the case. I think what happens is that she gets cast, and then they like form this connection, and then they start dating.
Oh no.
And so now we are through the looking glass, people, okay? This is a music video for a song based on a short story, based on a relationship with his ex that Axl Rose is now acting in with his new girlfriend.
That came about because of this casting decision.
This is the messiest shit ever, right?
This is insane.
So
what in the world?
One scene in particular stuck out to him, which was when Elizabeth struggles to take a gun away from Maine, who wanted to unalive himself.
Okay.
Quote from Axl: "In real life, that happened with Aaron Everly and myself. I was going to shoot myself. We fought over the gun, and I finally let her win. I was kind of mentally crippled after that." So, literally,
and before that right. Sounds like to get to a point where you would kill yourself in front of your girlfriend. Yikes, dude!
He's doing it with his new girlfriend for this music video that's costing like millions of dollars.
This is ruining
so
him.
Messy.
This would ruin me. Be like, here, relive the thing you did when you were at your absolute lowest.
I don't know where reality ends and fiction begins.
I don't think this is. None of it's real. None of it's real.
It's not healthy.
You're in a showmance. You never did theater. When you're in a play.
Yeah.
And there's the showmances, the show romances.
Like the people who hook up while they're on the show or whatever.
It's a different kind of thing. It's because you're in a little like microcosm. You're in this tiny little, and suddenly, I don't know. Suddenly it's like they're everything, and then the show ends, and you're like, ew.
Oh yeah. No. It's the same thing in film sets. Everyone has a set crush.
You're right.
Set crushes. I mean, literally, my wife Sarah and I were. Although I didn't have a crush on her at the time. We didn't really talk until like the wrap party, and then it was like, or like the last night of the shoot, and then I was like, "Oh, you're cool," because we were totally different departments, so we didn't really interact.
When she saw all your drawings in your car,
that's the story. She saw all the drawings in my car when she had to move it.
You're like,
for a shot, not because she was a valet driver.
No, racist. No, she went to the car. I think I heard this from her, and she was like, I just saw his trunk was like littered with drawings.
With call sheets.
With drawings.
Again, the call sheets, bringing it back, the call sheets were just filled with drawings.
Covered in drawings. And she was like, this is cool.
We can draw? Weird. And then came and talked to me about art
By the way, everybody, art does get you places.
It does. Art gets you a great wife. More specifically, doodling in the margins of your papers is what led me to my wife. I can say that.
And she's an amazing person.
She is. Don't give up doodling, kids. Keep doodling. Stop. It might lead you to the love of your life.
or you might just doodle on the receipts at Starbucks that you work at, and that's fine.
Anything.
That could lead to something. Never stop.
Make sure that you're doodling. Anyway, so Axel, his life's becoming insane. Nothing makes sense. Up is down, down is up. But again, the moral of Don't Cry, I think, is supposed to be like one of letting go of bad things, even though there's a lot of messed up stuff that's depicted in it.
Yeah.
And it comes out, of course, the song is huge. The video is massive. Everyone's listening to it and playing it. And now he's got this another hit from this hit record. He's got a supermodel girlfriend. And this video has sort of helped him shed some immaturity. The stage is set for him to take this all to the next level of something more mature. And they're finally ready to get to our magnum opus, November Rain.
Yes.
And that's where I'll pick up.
No.
On next episode.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
This is what's funny. Like we said, our friend Alex came over and then I made her watch it. And then I was like, you're not allowed to go read about it. You're not allowed to do it. Because I was like, I wanted her to experience what it was like in 1991 to have watched that video and then be like, what? Huh? And then trying to understand.
Nothing?
Yeah, exactly. That's part of what was so fun about these videos is that there was like nowhere to have an outlet to talk about them. But you can watch Don't Cry for sure.
Yeah, I'll watch Don't Cry.
But between now and next week, I'll decide if it, because I haven't figured out exactly how to write next week's. I haven't structured next week's episode, but I might. I'll consider it. If I do, I'll let you know. And then when we start next week, you can be like, I watched it, and then you can talk about it maybe. Or I might be like, no, you can't watch it. Dude. But anyway.
You got me right up there.
Good.
Top of the roller coaster. And it's done. Thanks.
Yeah, no, that's great.
I'm like bitter and happy at the same time. I'm so mad at you.
Perfect state to be in, bitter and happy.
It's a comfortable state. Well, okay. Yeah. I can't wait. We should just record next week's episode tomorrow.
We should do it, right? I'll just write the script right now. Again, great songs. Great songs. Don't Cry is great. It's a lot of fun to play on the guitar.
We should close our tab by pushing it off a cliff.
Oh, yeah, with a Mustang exploding. Yeah. Man, I'm sad that we can't use copyrighted music because it would have been perfect to just have Slash's guitar solo as in your mind. Just listen to the solo.
I think we can use 30 seconds of something.
No, YouTube keeps flagging us for like anything that's even remotely. It's dumb. I hate it. Anyway, but yes, definitely Mustang driving off a cliff and exploding should be what we do. You want to count us down? Like a
peeling out and then a crash and an explosion. Okay, Alyssa? Thanks, Alyssa. Okay, I'm counting us out. Okay. 3, 2, 1. That's Henry Zebrowski.
I was going to say that was a very Zebrowski thing to do.
Yeah, I took it from him.
Moving on to listener emails. You are up first.
I'm like spinning. Okay. I just opened the wrong document. Sorry.
Oh, I thought you were still thinking about Axl Rose's weirdly poetic words.
Okay. Yeah, this is from M from Orange County. Dear Kaveh and Sarah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think it was probably meant to be Kaveh and Hannah.
I know, but I thought
do
it was
talk
funny
about Sarah a lot. Yeah.
That it's Kaveh and Sarah. So I'm just gonna pretend that it's to you guys. So make sure she listens to this. Dear Kaveh and Sarah, and probably Hannah, right? As a longtime fan of both this pod and musical splaining, #musicalsplaining forever, I wanted to share an incredibly niche genre of musicals with you, the industrial musical.
By the way, real quick, I'm just going to interject. Sorry. When the reference to #musicalsplaining forever, that's a channel in our Discord where people they're still allowed to come talk about musicals and bond with other people who like musicals. I don't really partake in that channel as much for obvious reasons.
I turned off notifications for it.
I can't do musical stuff anymore, but we create space for you guys to come talk about it.
Because there's a lot of people who came from musical splaining. Yeah. Thank you. And thank you for musical splaining. Whatever. Okay. We'll go listen to my episode where I unpack my trauma. Between the 1950s and 1980s, major companies like Ford and American Standard would produce company-themed live musicals as a kind of corporate entertainment for their employees at sales meetings.
Corporate punishment is more like it.
Imagine doing a 9 to 5, having ADHD, and then they'd be like, okay, you have to watch a musical about this company.
Unalived. I would have been like Axl Rose, but successful.
No one would have stopped that.
Yeah.
These musicals were complete professional productions with professional lyricists and book writers, musicians and performers. You guys need to go to the YouTube and watch his face while I'm reading this.
Why isn't it enough?
It's a journey.
Are you suffering enough by having to work at these companies?
Just go watch his face while I'm reading this. With one major through line is sell, sell, sell. While these might sound like Kaveh's personal hell,
they
and
are.
and a weird corporate phenomenon, they were likely both. These musicals actually served as something of a backbone for musical theater artists of the 20th century. Artists who may have never reached mainstream fame could still make something of a living working on these corporate musicals.
That's their version of corporate hell jobs.
Yeah.
I see. Yeah.
Major Broadway names were also involved, like Candor and Ebb. Do you know who that is?
No,
Yeah.
I should probably. I probably did at one point. Now I don't remember.
It's replaced with this Guns N' Roses music videos.
Yeah.
Who wrote for a General Electric show. These industrial musicals really supported the art form for many decades, and they reflect a world of industry and manufacturing that no longer exists in the U.S. And all of this went relatively unrecognized for decades. Very little remains of these musicals, as only a few vinyls would be pressed, usually one for every attendee. You had to take it, and were labeled for internal use only. Whenever I see that, I think, how do I get that in my body if it's internal use only?
Silica packets, that's my favorite. That needs to go into my stomach.
Right up. Oh, I think right up the like a
suppository.
An enema, yeah.
You're always thinking of, you think everything's an enema. The berries that you're trying to pick off of multiple bushes.
That's what they're for, right? Enemas. Berries of the state. Berry of the state. Enema of the state. Okay, so we're labeled for internal use only. However, some made their way to secondhand record shops over the years where they were discovered by curious collectors. One such collector was a David Letterman comedy writer named Steve Young, which I'm like, is the football player?
Yeah.
Who, after years of collecting these records, turned his discovery into the documentary Bathtubs Over Broadway.
Oh.
Which not only shined a light on this weird piece of theater history, but also spotlighted some of the great performers whose contributions to the form otherwise went unnoticed. My personal favorite industrial music tune is the now unearthed My Bathroom from the musical The Bathrooms Are Coming. But you can hear a lot more here. I think it must have been a company who made bathtubs.
This literally sounds like Jack Donaghy with like GE. Be like the new GE like musical about bathtubs. Lemon, can you help write the script so that it helps show that a musical attendee was purchased and was satisfied by a GE toilet?
You are so right. This is a 30 Rock episode.
100%. And they would just cut to one song of like, I flushed twice, and then they would back away.
And Jenna is absolutely selling it, and then Tracy's required by contract
Jenny Maroney
to be involved.
Jenny Maroney would absolutely be in it. That's right. She's going to be like, I'll play the lead in the toilet musical.
I'll be the toilet seller, the toilet salesman.
She shows up to Jack's office wearing like all white, being like, I'm the porcelain princess.
We just wrote our own episode of that.
There you go. You hear that, Tina Fey? Hire us.
Come on,
for a show that
listening.
Got canceled 10 years ago, but yes.
Thanks for making such a great pod. Your humor keeps me from having a panic attack on the 405.
On the 405, M's a local. Yeah.
She's Orange County, or they're Orange County.
Oh, right. You said that at the beginning, and I already got distracted by something else and forgot.
Whatever. Look, although not a lot of noise is going on. Keeping it Josie keeping it Josie in my bathroom. M from Orange County. Thanks, M. I would love to do a live watch with you of Bathtubs Over Broadway. Bathtubs Over Broadway.
Here's the thing. I'm going to say that I don't like the name industrial musical because that makes it sound like Trent Reznor wrote something and it doesn't, or like KMFDM or some, that kind of band. And it's like, imagine being like, I got tickets to an industrial musical. And then you show up and you're
Bathtubs Over Broadway and like stuff like that. And you're like, oh, kill me. I have to watch this. Or I get to watch this.
Thank you, M. Moving on to email number 2. Dear Hannah, Kaveh, and Alyssa, this is Blake from Seattle with another
gave
tab.
him a tattoo.
That's right.
Table. Yeah.
That's right. Shout out to Blake. In 1997, Pepsi Cola, a.k.a. Dickie Nixie's best pal, partnered with Fox Television to operate a sweepstakes. Contestants could participate by purchasing Pepsi products to obtain special numbered game pieces. Then, on September 21st, 1997, the winning piece would be announced on TV during a commercial break. However, no one claimed the prize from TV, so they randomly picked a mail-in form to decide the winner. The prize in question, an estimated $150,000 suburban house built to be an exact replica of the Simpsons' home. Do you remember seeing this?
No.
It was painstakingly designed by a development company looking to advertise a new Las Vegas suburb with Fox's blessing. Thus, hundreds of episodes were referenced to come up with a definitive layout.
This is amazing.
It's really cool.
This is a Simpsons home.
Yep. This is a Comic-Con installation or activation before Comic-Con activation was
Exactly.
Each room was built, decorated, and furnished to look exactly like the show, with details such as corncob patterned curtains in the kitchen, an oil stain in the driveway, and the iconic couch. The result looks like if you step directly into a cartoon, despite the fact that you are in an otherwise unnotable neighborhood just a few miles from the strip. During the contest, the house operated as a mini tourist attraction to the public to visit. Matt Groening even made an appearance to leave his autograph in the cement. The winner ended up being a 63-year-old woman from Kentucky who understandably opted to take a cash prize instead of having to leave her home. However, the house still lives out in the desert somewhere, waiting to be purchased and utilized as a recording studio for the 500 Open Tabs podcast.
Dude,
let's do it, guys.
Dream come true. I guess I can't live in the desert.
The heat's dry, Hannah.
These pictures, they've redone it now. It's painted different colors. Oh.
Just to wrap it up real quick. Anyways, I hope you guys are enjoying your summer and not feeling too overwhelmed by SDCC prep. Thanks for all the stories and the laughs. Remember to keep it Josie at the Dickie Nixie Soviet pool party when you inevitably throw each other into the bog located next to the Gwen Stefani tribute toilet where Secundus Nixon shat twice. Sincerely, Blake. 10 points for stringing them all together, Blake.
We're so dumb.
That was amazing.
That was incredible.
Beautiful.
I forgot about the bog, kind of.
Oh my God. How can you forget about the... We're going to lose like so many listeners just hearing you. We're going to have to cut that out. That's going to be like,
dude,
what?
Fine. Cut it out. I don't care. Cut the whole thing out. Cut me out.
Cut the whole episode out.
I was going to say the other day at a 4th of July party, my brother-in-law was talking and I heard him say bog and I heard him say Vikings. And I without even realizing it, I spun around and I was like, what do you mean? What are you talking about?
You just joined the conversation. Like an apparition just appeared in front of him.
He was like, sorry, I have to interrupt. I apologize. I'm like, I need to know what you were talking about. And he was like, oh, just the pine tar that they would use on boats in the Viking Age. They found it in some in a bog, and I'm using the old old pine tar recipe to seal the planter boxes I built. And I'm like, that's awesome. Yeah.
That's cool.
So now his whole yard smells like what a Viking shipyard must have smelled like.
Yeah. If you have pine tar that you'd like to tell us about, please send us an email to 500opentabs@gmail.com. That's 500. Share a tab with us. That's fun that we could share on the show.
Yep. What's your most recent deep dive? What's something that you've always been obsessed with, even back into the 90s?
Yeah.
What do you keep going back to? You know? Mine's always the plague. Yeah, and if you want to follow us, you can do that 500 Open Tabs at on Instagram and what is it called? Blue Sky. And you can follow me at Hannah Hillam.
Post on there. I'm so bad at it, but yes.
Whatever. Sometimes, look, I don't know. And join the Discord.
The Discord. I'm at PermaFriends on Instagram and Taherian on Blue Sky. Coming up, do we have any information yet about GalaxyCon, or do we just know that we're going to be there?
We're going to be there. It's August 14th, right? 14th, 15th,
It's the 16th? Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
I think it's 15, 16, 17, I want to say.
Yeah, I think it is.
In August, we'll be both in San Jose at the what is it, San Jose Convention Center. I've actually never been.
San Jose Convention Center. It's big. It's big. It's fine.
We'll be there drinking Phil's coffee, eating round table pizza. I don't even know what San Jose chains there are, but I'm just thinking of Bay Area chains, Northern California chains.
There's a round table by my house, by the way.
Oh!
It's like a 2-minute drive away, and it's hiding in a little strip
mall.
Stay
and I was at the round table pizza by your house. It's gonna be great.
I go pick you up in the morning. Let's go to con.
RTP.
You roll out of the pizza oven. You're like, I'm here.
Guinevere's Garden Delight and the garlic twist. That's my jam.
That's what I had. Me too.
It's the best.
Guinevere's Garden Delight is the best thing on the menu.
100%. It's the best vegetarian pizza available, although it's too expensive. I don't really like the price, but it's that's the pizza of our childhood.
Tribute toilet.
Guinevere Stefani's
Garden Delight.
Sorry,
Gwen
toilet. Stefani, you're gone. It's Guinevere Stefani's tribute toilet. Guinevere.
That's
when Gwen and Ben get married. Oh no, Jennifer. Gwen and Ben.
The throuple.
No, there's no Ben. Gwen and Jennifer. I don't know. We've been recording for too long in this episode. I'm derailing. I can't keep it. Anyway.
So go join the Patreon because there's going to be a bunch of extras. Okay.
Yes. Thank you for listening, everybody. Hannah. Thank you for the tab. That was a lot of fun.
Thank
I
you.
really enjoyed going down ADHD amnesia lane.
Yeah.
And come back next week to learn about.
We'd thrive.
I won't remember.
You're right. Because you know what? This isn't required for survival. So yeah, it's gone.
Keep doing it. Yeah. Anyway, see you at the
Bye.
Guinevere Stefani tribute toilet.
Garden Toilet Delight. What is it?
I don't know. That's what it is now. Guinevere Garden's Toilet Delight. Anyway, goodbye.
Bye.